We are the people, referring to a 2020 International Day of Peace theme, Shaping Peace Together. It's a global celebration to unite and create sustainable harmony between all persons around the world, holding a place for a peaceful action and justice, freedom for all individuals. This year, it has been clearer than ever that we are not each other's enemies. Rather, our common enemy is a tireless virus that threatens our health, security, and very way of life. COVID-19 has thrown our world into turmoil and forcibly reminds us that what happens in one part of the planet can impact people everywhere. The 2020 theme for the International Day of Peace is Shaping Peace Together. Celebrate the day by spreading compassion, kindness, and hope in the face of the pandemic. Stand together with the United Nations declared Day of Peace on September 21st, 2020, against attempts to use the virus to promote discrimination or hatred. Join us so that we can shape peace together. The video being streamed at this moment was created by Snowman LLC, an art collective highlighting national policymakers who may consider their own interest in their governmental positions and decision-making actions instead of with the people. Its placement is 2 blocks from the Arizona State Capitol. The purpose of this beautiful artwork is to present a means of thoughtful reflection and action, envisioning individuals and communities enriched with creative practices, tools, and skill sets to expand critical thinking and cultural awareness, thereby supporting a sense of belonging and respect within a larger community. Goal. Why? The result of the global pandemic and human rights abuses has crimped our capacities to continue to not only keep oneself and loved ones safe, but has challenged our educators to teach. Globally, through acts of peace building methodology, individuals are instructed to be critical thinkers, enriching their daily challenges needed for considering all persons' rights, justice, and equality around the world. The CAC has produced and showcased this STEAM video to assist a global network view and learn on the work our organization has been engaged within concerning the celebrating and honoring of the United Nations declared International Day of Peace each year since September 21st, 2007. We welcome Cultural Arts Coalition participants into the garden for an interactive process about peace. What is in a word? An invitation to dialogue and paint. Together we explore the questions. What does the word peace mean to you personally? What do you understand the word or image of peace to mean in your community? How do you bring about peace in your day-to-day life? What is the opposite of the word peace in your life? What names, organizations come to mind when you think of peace, locally or globally? Peace. Why do you want it? Youth were also asked to attend the dialogue to give their valuable input. Others who arrive early take the time just to enjoy the sense of peace this garden provides. As more and more people enter the garden, there is time to greet old friends and meet new people. Peace is spoken in many languages. Everyone took turns seeing through the mylar canvas and at the same time seeing oneself in the reflective material as they painted. At the end, there's a group photo of some very happy faces, united in peace. Ken Kosho of the Fusion Daiko Phoenix Drummers began the event as the lion dancer with his symbols riding the area of evil spirits. Ken, Esther, and Kerry continue the drumming performance, welcoming persons to give intentions for peace. May peace prevail on the earth for all. The audience was very responsive. Sharon thanked the drummers following Ken's singing of Imagine, the Beatles song. Imagine all the people living life in peace. He was fabulous. Keith Johnson, following some Nourishmen, chanted a universal honoring to the ancestors and unity to this community gathering. Keith and Irma Turrell of Turrell Will discussed the evolving challenges in Africa and how to assist these evolving countries. Fire and Smoke mingle to ground a space of reverence and create an inclusive atmosphere of creative collaboration. Ben Boomer provides a blessing over the evening peace event. Ben Boomer gave honor to our gathering and discussed our place on this planet, acknowledging the 7 directions and our life as metaphors for those planes of the earth, underworld, and the heavens. One of the primary goals of the Cultural Arts Coalition is to bring persons together, not to only network, but to reinforce the power of the arts to communicate significant ideas of social consciousness in a safe space. The night ended on a sharing of a sense of place in a beautiful garden and words of thoughtfulness concerning bringing peace to the world.
Hello everyone, happy International Day of Peace, and we hope every day is peaceful, of course. This year I'm gonna use black and white this year. I'm into black and white right now, and also it's easier to make the painting or sketch as we are doing it. And what I'm doing differently now is, instead of using a dove that I normally use for peace as a symbol, I'm using hummingbirds, and mainly because hummingbirds are a symbol of freedom, and they work very hard to get a little sweetness of the flower. And so I looked it up. It looks like it is a symbol of lightness, of enjoyment of life, of being present, and independence. They are the symbol of playfulness and lifting up negativity. And their swiftness and resilience to great travels, and they erase negativity, and that's what we need right now. And so with that, I'm just gonna have this human being. Again, when I paint people, they represent human being. They represent male and female both in this body. And it shows how we are rooted on earth, and we are looking for connection through our roots to one another. And this is how we're going to gain peace. First with ourselves, and then with our family and community, and then with the world. And it's actually very, very possible if we put all of our efforts together. Like bad things that are contagious, good things are also contagious. So we are just rooting down the earth, our force of peace, and we are connecting through this beautiful flower that we are gifting it to the hummingbirds. To bring the sweet nectar of life to us. Of course, life is always changing, but we get adapted to the new way of life, and it goes on. I wish everyone a happy celebration. I wish we could see each other. I miss all my friends and loved ones, but it will go back in time. Enjoy this evening today with your family and your friends on phone or through Zoom, and thank God to technology, we can still connect.
I'm Joan Barron. I'm an environmental artist and avid gardener, as well as a community activist.
I am Gloria Martinez Granados. I am a visual artist, and I'm originally from Guanajuato, Mexico. I migrated here with my parents to the United States, and that experience is what influences most of my work as an artist.
The title of this performance is Good Trouble Bucket. It was inspired by the words of Martin Luther King Jr. He invited the 17-year-old John Lewis to join the 1965 Civil Rights March in Selma, Alabama.
John Lewis, worried he would get into trouble, was reassured that this would be good trouble, that it was necessary for change to happen. Art, too, is political. It calls us out.
I think what comes up for me in terms of our roles in the piece would be collaboration. The power of collaboration in delivering a very powerful message addressing issues of suppression and oppression.
The most important object that I placed in the piece was my DACA application. I'm crying now because it's been so draining for me to fight to be able to stay in the only country that I've ever called home. And putting that big stack really put me in a very vulnerable space.
Another really significant symbol was that we were carrying buckets of water. And to me, the symbol of that water carries the message of liberation, because without water, you are not free. We must have water to live. So there's a sense of it being tied into the very nature of the title of the piece, Good Trouble Bucket. As we found foods that had similar historic significance, and we shared those stories, from the nopalitos to the matzah,
To the tortilla.
to the sharing through the chain link fence, which also was a powerful symbol for us. None of us should allow any type of border to keep us apart, that we want to extend our families, not to restrict the idea of family, creating family. And then while we were working, our bodies became the landscape that we were constructing at the finale of the piece, where we're pounding the wet clay onto the chain link and reconstructing, redesigning the world that we would like to see, where the human being and the land are respected as one.
I want people to have the space to reflect and really take in an issue in a different type of medium, in an artistic way. But most importantly, to empathize with others, to listen to the stories of others and to find those commonalities. And from those commonalities, work together, because we're all part of a greater collective, not just these laws that rule us.
Hello, my name is Cece Braun, and I've been a dance educator in the public school setting for over a decade. The purpose of this presentation is just a reflection on how to create community in a classroom setting, or really any kind of setting. Before I begin, I just want to take a moment for you to think about what the importance of community is and what purpose does it serve. So in the context of dance, dance serves numerous purposes that promote social and emotional development throughout our lives, not just when we're children. Dance educators or facilitators have the ability to plant community building practices throughout their curriculum. Being aware of the environment creates connections beyond words. So as a dance teacher or any facilitator, it's the job to know what the students' interests are outside of the classroom setting. So for me personally, I love field trips. Field trips provide great opportunities to learn about your students. So in this picture, I'm in there dancing along with my students, and we're having a moment after watching a performance. We were in a mall eating lunch, and we decided that we were going to get up and dance in the middle of the common space. So they are teaching me some of their TikTok dances there. Using the person-centered theory created from Carl Rogers is a driving force to develop community. The key concepts in person-centered theory embrace empathy, unconditional positive regard, and genuineness. The value is placed on the student, and oftentimes there are moments in my class where content isn't even really the purpose. The purpose is taking time to getting to know my students and building relationships with them and kind of understanding what they need and what they want. So Person Center creates a support system where students become self-understanding and empowered to begin taking responsibility in their self and others. There are many concepts that are an integral part of dance curriculums across the nation that highlight 21st century transferable skills and also promote and build resilience in many underserved children. So in this picture, they are eating dinner together, and that might be something very common factor, but most of the time, this is a practice that doesn't happen very often for many of them. When students begin to form relationships in the classroom, they learn to effectively handle conflict and become empathetic beings. The person-centered theory drives the relationship building practices in my classroom. The studio or the classroom or the space that you have can promote students' risk-taking abilities to explore their artistic and creative mind. This notion can be connected or be called something called being in a brave space. So it's no longer being called a safe space because not everyone has the capacity to feel safe. And having the awareness of how environments relate to students differently is fundamental. What seems like feeling freedom to explore might not be the same for some students. And so providing them with the space to take risk and be brave is more important to drive than calling it a safe space. And this is just a picture right before a performance. And I often do relate to them or call them a dance family because they're there, as you can see, supporting each other, getting ready for a performance. So the next couple of slides are just some examples or thoughts about how you're able to implement creating like a supportive environment. So this picture was an exercise that my students did where they were tasked with having to write positive statements or messages to their fellow classmates, and they had to walk around and kind of stick them on somebody else, and they had to take responsibility in making sure that everybody was getting sticky notes. And so it was really beneficial, and they definitely all got tons of sticky notes. And the after effect, you could just tell there's just a different feeling in the environment. Building traditions is also pretty important because it gives something for the students to look forward to. It makes them feel included and it makes them feel like they belong, which is important, especially for I teach middle school students, and that can be a hard concept for some of them to swallow. So this picture is right before a performance. They get in a circle, and luckily I have a gym and a space to be able to get them all in a circle. And they do something where they pass a squeeze. So they squeeze their hand and then they pass it around the circle. And then I give them like empowering words so that they get ready for their performance. They love doing that. They always look forward to doing that. And also just in general, I tend to I've been focused on structuring my classes in a circle setting instead of a grid-like setting so that they all can be seen, they all are in this space together. Some other aspects that kind of drive community building is just being able to promote breathing techniques and having that happen as a group ensemble. So breathing techniques kind of refocuses and cleanses the body. We use this so that we can kind of release toxins and any kind of pent up energy, anxiety or anger. Those are all things that we use breathing techniques for. And so I do a lot of different kinds of breathing techniques with my students. There's the 3-part breathing where they do belly, chest and sternum, chest and belly. They do breathing through movement. So like the movement and breath is choreographed into the movement. So whenever they know that whenever they get to a certain movement, they inhale, and then the next movement is an exhale. Box breathing, so they inhale up one corner of the box, exhale, inhale, and exhale. So it would be 4 parts. Or there's something called the roller coaster breathing method, which is whenever they take their finger and they just draw up and down, up and down, up and down through their other hand, and they'll inhale going up the hill, exhale going down the hill, inhale going up the hill, downhill, they'll exhale like they're riding a roller coaster. And being able to give them that also extra physical kind of fidget that happens whenever they're doing that kind of helps them a little bit. Some other concepts or ideas that I have that are just tradition or a part of my classroom expectations is that I provide a space and a time for them to give shout outs to their other classmates. So it's just whenever they notice that someone else is doing something intriguing or visually something, or there's an act of kindness that happens in the room. So, that's a shout out for them. We do birthday circles. So as a teacher, we know whenever our students have birthdays, and it's just something that we know before they even come into the classroom. And so the student will stand in the middle of the circle and we sing happy birthday and we dance around them. And there's just a sense of belonging and acknowledgement between the group and the person that is celebrating their birthday. Open rehearsals that happen after school, so they can literally just come and practice. There's no expectations other than practicing. And obviously that leads to socialization and being able to be a part of a group. And, snacks, food is a driving factor in that. There's snacks provided and they love their snacks. And sometimes that's okay. There's nothing wrong with wanting to come and dance a little bit and talk and have a snack. So that's something that a lot of them do look forward to. Providing opportunities for the students. This happens in a lot of different ways in my environment. And so offering them opportunities to choreograph on their own, to help new students that are in the space, offering extra performances for them to be a part of, making historians, so people that take photographs throughout the process of the year and having a space to share that in, even graphic designing for posters or t-shirts that we make throughout the year. They love their t-shirts. And then sharing creations and respecting different perspectives. So throughout the school year, there's a lot of opportunities for them to be sharing what they're creating, and being able to develop an understanding for different worldviews and different perspectives is vital. And that happens with giving them a very specific way of viewing dance. Okay, what do you notice? What do you see? What do you question? What do you like? Those are all just certain prompts that I often use. Never do I ever ask them like what do they need to keep working on, or what doesn't look good, because that's not driving a community perspective. I'm the one that gives them that kind of feedback. So anyways, thank you for listening to my presentation, and I ask you to take some time to reflect on what methods you're using to create community in your space, whatever that might be. I'm sure there's already a ton of examples there and ways to continue the practice of pushing empathy, unconditional positive regard, and genuineness further. More information is accessible through the Cultural Arts Coalition website.
For me, peace means equality for all human beings. It means equality for all races, genders, sexualities, and religions. Peace means respect for every thing that breathes in this world, including nature and animals, and a cruelty-free world. Peace also means being at one with ourselves and in harmony with our bodies. Friendship and family, and being happy with yourself.
What peace means to me is being with my family and playing a board game.
To me, peace means sitting out in nature and reading a good book.
Hello everybody, this is Oliverio Balcells, and I would like to celebrate the International Day of Peace with all of you. And for me, peace is to have a peace of mind, to have the opportunity to create. You need peace to be inspired. And one of the reasons that I play guitar is because it gives me peace, and I got the sense of balance and tranquility with myself. So I'm gonna play one song for you.
Hopi kinship with the land. The Hopi people, like many other Native American tribes, have a kinship with the land. The arts are inspired by nature and the wisdom of their lived lives immemorial in close contact to the earth. The Hopi have no clear distinction between the physical being and their connection to nature. All elements of this interconnected system of life are sacred. Hopi Elder. My name is Ben Boomer, and I come from the Diné people of the Navajo Nation. I am born from my mother's clan, the Tepetligene, or Black Sheep people. My father is of mixed European ancestry by way of California farmland. When I was a young kid, I had a Hopi uncle, and we would travel to the Hopi mesas for ceremonies and dances. Later, I spent much of my 20s spending time with and crossing paths with Hopi artist and architect Dennis Numkina. I was fortunate enough to travel throughout Mexico with him and lived with him for a short time. So, in this way, I'm a friend of the Hopi people. I'm also a person who does his best to listen and observe. In this way, I can offer you my interpretations. This painting, titled Maze to the Sacred Center by Dennis Numkina, depicts the journey we are all on in life. This journey is one of the things that unites us as human beings. In this painting, I could see beings who are allies or friends. I could see my own journey. But if I pause, I recognize that the real power of his work comes from the invitation to bring them into your own life and to merge them with your own journey and your own experience. This unites us across time and space through the portal of art, and in this way, it becomes sacred. Honoring the earth honors us all. We see Hopi ancestral land surrounded by forces of global human expansion and climate change. The native peoples of northeast Arizona practice a strength of spirit they have used to thrive since the migration through the Sipapu into this, the fourth world. This proposal reveals a story of community sustainability through documentation of Hopi kinship, ceremonies, and environmental practices within an online curriculum. I once heard a first-hand account of Buddhist monks from Tibet who visited the Hopi mesas with a very important Rinpoche or Lama. At one point, the film crew traveling with them was dismissed, and the monks and elders went down into the kiva together to share ceremony. The film crew packed up, and on their way across the desert, one of them had to stop. They got out of the vehicle and walked a ways into the desert for some air. There was a bright flash followed by hundreds of luminous beings descending from the sacred mountain and flying across the desert towards the mesa. This, for that camera person, was a life-altering event and speaks to aspects of reality that are not widely recognized. Hopis remain a constant part of this land through the centuries of shared traditions and values, validating the Hopi way and their urban locale as a sustainable community and building model. We are one of the oldest living cultures of the Southwest, and we trace our history back more than 2,000 years. We are descendants of the Hisatsinom, people of the ancient past. Our Hopi language is in the Uto-Aztecan language family. We live in the high, arid mesa country of northern Arizona. Each of our 12 villages affiliates with one of Hopi's 3 mesas. Traditionally, a spiritual father guided each village. Today, a secular village council governs some villages. A tribal council provides a central government. Our ancient traditional homeland covered much of the Colorado Plateau. Kim Sikakuku. We see corn as the gift of the spirit being that rules the world. He gave us corn to be our soul. Li Kuanwisiwama. How might Arizona urban sites and cities of the world learn and benefit from the Hopi sustainable strategies and methods? Corn Maiden was created by Dennis Nimkina following our journey throughout Mexico. In the background of this painting is Palenque, an important Mayan city in the Chiapas Altiplano. While in Palenque, Dennis Nimkina shared with me a story passed on to him from his grandfather about groups of Hopis that would travel that far south to where the howling hairy people lived in the trees, and they would come back with exotic, colorful feathers and other treasures from southern Mexico and possibly further. He would laugh if we were approached by tour guides, preferring to get his own interpretation of what was happening at these ruins. He remarked that anthropologists didn't really know the Hopi, so why should they know these people? Dennis was referring to the rich and complex Hopi cosmology, which is their perspective on the nature of the universe and reality, filled with story, art, and ritual containing an understanding that cannot be transmitted with words or by books. It is all of it together, a lived experience that inhabits all facets of life. The only way to really know the Hopi is to be and live as a Hopi. This way of enduring life has many important lessons. Those who are not Hopi may be gifted with those lessons that the Hopi choose to share. The Hopi are a matrilineal people. Households are built upon a foundational line of women who own and manage the houses, land, and basic crops that support and feed their families. Men can claim ownership of any livestock they raise. They also are responsible for the spiritual integrity of the community. This includes rituals and assuring adherence to codes of conduct. A mother's brothers are responsible for uncle discipline. There are complex power structures that achieve a powerful balance between men and women. This closely woven distribution of responsibility keeps families close in clustered apartment-like pueblos. These rooms built of earth, stone, and wood grow together in a way that 1,000 people can live together for 1,000 years. Families grow into the spaces organically so that everyone is close by and the men of a single lineage can come together quickly to be very responsive to common needs. Mural painting from year 2000 CE, exhibited in Northern Arizona Museum Kiva, Flagstaff, Arizona, image highlights the Hopi story of the three sisters of Hopi food sources, squash, beans, and corn, for not only the Hopis, but also the Mayan culture since 2000 BCE. Please note the baby in uterus in the central figure eating corn. Mural by Michael Kaboti and Kutsiwokayama Delbridge Honani, Hopi artists. To the Hopi, religion, art, and daily life are all the same. The language does not contain a specific term for the English word art, since there is no distinction between the Hopi's view of the arts and the Hopi way. Visual, ceremonial, and functional objects are considered artfully created objects, which reveal their stories of a spiritual path lived in balance and harmony. Hopi Elder. When the father of Hopi artist Dennis Numkina was asked about Palenque, Mexico, he said Dennis was to visit this ancient site to learn more about his ancestral and spiritual journey. As an architect, Dennis deeply understood the power of creating space and ambiance in order to invoke a feeling or inspirational energy. He used this understanding to create an ambiance around his life that allowed him to create in a way many would call visionary. When I would see him work, the images would grow and transform over time. Through the painting's evolution, details were created that would be worked away, but remain an important part not only of the process but of the finished piece. This process of transporting himself to a place of focus, a place outside the normal world, is reflected in his paintings. They show transformation rooted deep in Hopi culture that then extended beyond into other worlds and places, limitless. Dennis loved interacting with youth during after-school art sessions. He provided the art history stories of his Hopi ancestors and from peoples down into the Yucatan. As an architect, he also facilitated art lessons concerning form of structure and movement, which were fabricated into sculptures and paintings. Dennis would tell me stories of his childhood eating ice-cold watermelons that had been chilled in a flowing wash. He talked about his escapes from the abusive Indian school. He valued and connected with the power of childhood. This is all part of how he interacted with kids and enjoyed doing workshops and projects with them. Educators via online curriculum and art teachers not only strive to teach contemporary art-making practices, but also facilitate reflection within each student concerning interdisciplinary concepts and social environmental challenges relevant to the students' lives. The art environmental education curriculum supports a complex inquiry process, including popular culture and humanities with exciting opportunities for critical thinking and creative resolution outcomes. The time has come to allow ourselves to be illuminated by the many cultures of the world and the individuals who create sparks of beauty. The truth is always waiting at the center of our journey, and we're surrounded by allies and friends in this world to help us embrace it. May this curriculum plant a powerful seed that opens us to honor and respect the ways of those who lived before us, and empowers us to create the world we all dream is possible. Hopi Katsinaism. I will come back as a cloud someday. Hopi Katsinas, Hopi plural Katsinam, are the spirit essences of all things in the natural world, including plants, animals, cosmic forces, and ancestors. As spirit friends, the Katsinam come to the Hopi in the form of rain-bringing clouds, bestowing fertility, growth, health, and well-being to all humankind. Upon passing from one's physical life, a Hopi continues a spiritual existence as a life-sustaining Katsina. We have this basic value of respecting all forms of life. A human life is respected. The animal life is respected. The spiritual life, plant life, all of these are respected. And that's what our ceremonial events are based on. Elgin Joshvama. Pliny Draper is a highly respected Hopi Katsina artist. The two female Katsinas pictured here were gifts to a member of the Cultural Arts Coalition for her engagement in support of his work as a Hopi seeking higher education and honoring his daughter's native Hopi cultural background. Dennis Nimkina was honored to be Pliny's cousin. Katsina dolls and art projects. Only an initiated Hopi man has the appropriate knowledge and right to make an image of a Katsina or carve a Katsina doll. Young, uninitiated Hopi children are not allowed to draw or otherwise represent a Katsina, even a color-by-number figure. Dennis Nimkina led me on some of the best adventures of my life and opened my eyes to a different way of seeing the world. In his persistent and sometimes stubborn way, he showed me what a person that gets things done looks like. I will forever appreciate his gifts to my life and the world. When we make the emergence into this world, there is life already here. We are not the first ones to come into this world. The plants were already here, the snakes, the reptiles, the animals, the birds, the eagle was here. The clouds were here. The lightnings were here. The stars were here. All of these life forms for us. Michael Cabote. Welcome. My name is Ben Boomer. You may recognize me from the video, Hopi Kinship and Culture, Honoring the Earth Honors Us All. I will be referencing that video as I give voice to the thoughts of Anne Elizabeth Coe throughout this video. Thanks for watching. As the Hopi people believed that honoring the earth honors us all, and Anne Coe looked to nature for inspiration, we too as a coalition look to the environment for inspiration and hope, and believe in the preservation of our environment. Julie Sassy, curator of modern and contemporary art at the Tucson Museum of Art, has this to say. While some writers have considered Anne Coe to be a study in contrasts because of her disparate qualities of conservationist and capitalist, discipline and whimsy, dreamer and realist, it is such differences that make her significant as an artist today. One cannot create art with a myopic, lacking imagination, foresight, or intellectual insight, sensibility, or function in society without those contrasts if one of the main reasons for the act of creation is to effect change and awareness. Anne Coe's paintings and story as an internationally recognized conservationist and artist are revealed within the book Wisdom of the Wild, which documents Anne's primary objective for painting these powerful artworks. Anne said to herself, "I looked at the world around me and asked, what can I do to fix this?" Anne goes on to say, "Having viewed the art history video number 1, Hopi Kinship and Culture, Honoring the Earth Honors Us All, has been a wonderful opportunity for me to revisit my past 45 years of art making and community activism as a conservationist. This follow-up video offers a means for the viewer to reflect on one's memories and consider researching one's culture. Viewers will be asked to respond to critical thinking questions during teacher-facilitated processes of examining and exploring various art-making techniques, inspiring students' artistic story." Each one of you is unique and important within this total population of humanity connected to the earth and all life. Please utilize your artistic gifts, whether they may be as a visual artist, writer, poet, performer, musician, human rights activist, teacher, nurturing and caring for your community as the Hopi people have on their land for over 2,000 years. Through this art-making curriculum and the video of the Hopi people, we are requesting of each viewer to take the journey through a maze of life. This is how one may promote and sustain compassion and respect for all people as we face many challenges in today's world. This painting, titled Maze to the Sacred Center by Dennis Numkina, depicts the journey we are all on in life. This journey is one of the things that unites us as human beings. Anne Coe outlines how her journey through the maze began. Anne is a true daughter of the West, a fourth-generation Arizonan. Coe was raised on a ranch in a remote part of the state where she developed a close affinity for the land. Her paternal great-grandfather arrived in Arizona during the early years of settlement as a medical missionary dedicated to native tribes. He aided many of Arizona's indigenous people with their health care, distributing medicine and other medical supplies. Catherine Coe, Anne's older sister, also spent many years in Arizona working through native health organizations and teaching at the University of Arizona Medical School. All of Anne's life, she would take risk after risk finding her truth, much like the bold and enterprising family that came before her. Anne studied in Europe and Latin America, receiving her Master of Fine Arts degree at Arizona State University in 1980. Active as a professional painter for over 45 years, Coe has combined her artistic endeavors with a keen involvement with environmental activism during the span of her career. Initiating the Superstition Area Land Trust, Ms. Coe has been a major force in over 7 regional and national environmental groups, focusing on everything from the introduction of the Mexican wolf to protecting the future of thousands of acres of state trust land. Coe's career has brought her recognition throughout the West and beyond. Bears have a long history of representation in art and often appear in Coe's artistic endeavors, quotes Abrams. "The bear is my spiritual protector, paradoxically both comforter and destroyer. Please consider what images and symbols have deep meaning to you as an art student, art teacher, or viewer as you outline your narrative." Anne reflects on her paintings, stating they allow her to imagine a connection between the body and nature, self and place. Often I deal with the conflicts between the wild and civilized worlds. My work is filled with irony, humor, and contradictions, represented by the ambivalence as humans feel an innate need to own it. Who are your ancestors? How have they influenced your life? What assisted you to become this creative, seeking individual? Were you instructed to honor the earth and protect it as you grew up? Anne goes on to state, having viewed Hopi Video 1, please recall that the Hopi people, dwellers on their land, respect and celebrate the sustainability of cultivating corn for hundreds of generations. Many Hopi families teach their children how to raise it by hand. It has been stated that this Hopi life lesson has assisted their people to remain resilient and strong. The Hopi people value these acts of daily living as they tend and harvest their crops. This painting by Dennis Numkina is titled Hopi Corn Maiden. In the background of this painting is Palenque, an important Mayan city in the Chiapas Altiplano. While in Palenque, Dennis Numkina shared with me a story passed on to him from his grandfather about groups of Hopis that would travel that far south to where the howling hairy people lived in the trees, and they would come back with exotic, colorful feathers and other treasures from southern Mexico and possibly further. We have learned of this important connection to the Hopi people's values and ways of daily living as they tend to and harvest their crops. These thoughtful acts of community building appear to have sustained their lives over many centuries. Dennis honors this practice within the artwork displayed. Consider what your acts of daily living may reveal about you, and consider creating artworks for others to enjoy. Please note the example by former South Mountain High School art student and recent ASU art graduate, Gloria Martinez Granados. For inspiration, Anne also invites art students to visit the many cultural museums in Arizona, where one may enjoy native resources and history, the honoring and teachings of indigenous people and their ways of life and sustainability. Please seek them out. Through the works of the Cultural Arts Coalition's mission and vision statements, the CAC requests of its participants to respect all persons' cultural and spiritual practices and ceremonies. When an art student is creating various sketches of one's design, it is vital to remain respectful by not appropriating artworks, symbols, and themes which are considered to be off limits to the public. Please consider the message in Hopi Video number 1 of not appropriating the Hopi Katsina images within one's artworks. Hopi wisdom is based on historical migration and emergence memories that go beyond time immemorial. The Cultural Arts Coalition, celebrating global connections, has created this cultural arts and environmental curriculum outlining a critical thinking humanities process for investigating and revealing one's own stories. Please take the time to carefully review the artistic aspects of Dennis Numkina's Emergence painting. In Dennis's painting Emergence, he addresses the images within this complex work of art. The large rattle held in possibly an ancient Mayan hand, including the hands of all the human images moving upward, creating the heartbeat of the rattle that is given children around the earth when they are first born. The repetitive rhythm in the rattle is present in many musical compositions worldwide by persons of very diverse cultural backgrounds. The movement of the uppermost individual in the center calls to one to move through the 4 half circles of Hopi migration upward in connection with the indigenous persons of the Yucatan. This movement infers unity of action, creating a place of global peace and harmony. Observe the use of complementary colors juxtaposed one next to another as designs dance across the canvas in flowing movement. Dennis wishes to inspire one's discovery of personal awakenings as you paint an image or a composition of a larger artwork. Rituals and events of daily life also reveal our stories as we move through each day. Is there any artwork you might consider creating with symbols and messages from your world, which are thoughtful, visual compositions to be shared with others? Anne titles this kind of art making with deep meaning and personal as Paying Tribute in Paint. This information is once again in her book, Anne Co., Wisdom of the Wild, by Amy Abrams. Anne's father had died in a sailing incident while on a family vacation. It was important for her to pay tribute to him. Dr. Coe's work has been invaluable to the arts community when addressing the subject of what art has been in human evolution and its importance in our world today. Catherine Coe says about her sister's paintings, "Looking at Anne's art is seeing a chronicle of her life and key events of our family, beginning with the altars she made and continuing through the paintings in honor of family members." In the first video, you learned as a student that there is no word for art in the Hopi language. As we end this video, I would like to quote a final statement by Anne Co. "All Hopi cultural resources are a means to see and pass on the Hopi way. They are sacred. So I'm asking of you in the context of this art-making lesson plan to create your visual story, allowing others to see your world and celebrate oneself through your creative expressions. I honor each one of you as you travel through this maze of life. Enjoy and thank you for your attention." Anne Elizabeth Coe.
Hi, I'm Muslima with the Cultural Arts Coalition, and we are recognizing the International Day of Peace. The theme for this year is creating peace together. When we got together and asked what peace meant to us, peace to me means trusting in the journey of being my best self, and also having the freedom and safety to do so. For me, dance is the thing that I do or use to help me create a positive mental attitude and to also strengthen my ties with the community. Usually the Cultural Arts Coalition gets together and we eat, we have food, drink, and drum and dance. But we're not able to do that this year because of social distancing. But I'm going to share Lamba with you. It's from Ghana, and it is the dance of the griots. So push pause and rewind and eventually get up and dance with me so as we celebrate movement. Okay? So we're going to be doing dances with a 4 count. I'm going to introduce some steps and we'll have some steps in between so that you can get used to it. We'll do it slow at first and then we'll do it fast. Okay? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Then center. Second step. Side, side, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. First step. And hip. Side, side, and hip. Last step. Side, side, and turn. Now we're going to pick it up, okay? We're going to do it a little bit quicker. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. Hip. Last step. Let's do that 2 more times. Okay, that was a brief introduction to Ghana and Lamba. Hope that you get up and dance, celebrate life, and have peace within. Happy International Day of Peace.